Thank you. Good morning to everyone. Dear Chief Minister of Government of Kerala, dear Ministers of Power and Electricity, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, thank you for your invitation, and I am sorry to have to give this keynote address remotely. But due to some agenda constraints, I could not make it to Kerala today. So, what is IMEC? The India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor is a logistic and economic corridor project linking Asia to Europe via the Middle East. Its objective is to strengthen connectivity and integration between these three regions and bring India and Europe closer together. IMEC will undoubtedly be one of the most important infrastructure projects of the next few decades. And the project will connect countries representing half of the world GDP and over 40% of global population. 8 signatory countries on the sidelines of the G20 summit in New Delhi: India, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, France, Germany, Italy, the EU, and the USA have signed the agreement. As you see on the map, there are 3 segments: a maritime one between India and the Arabic Peninsula, then a terrestrial one up to Haifa, and then a new maritime one between Haifa and Europe. It is clear that France and India are at both ends of the corridor. The port of Marseille is IMEC's natural gateway to Europe and the Mediterranean Sea. It is a multimodal corridor of around 6,400 kilometers made up of rail and sea routes, digital cables, high voltage lines, and pipelines, most of which will carry green hydrogen. The initial estimates suggest an investment of 500 billion euros. This figure will be refined by ongoing studies. What is it for France? President Macron is committed to make France a major player in IMEC. I am so far the first and only special envoy appointed by one of the chief of states. In all the countries involved, there are high-level counterparts at ministerial level or even at the National Security Advisor level in India. IMEC is a priority project, a project of major strategic importance for France. The port of Marseille is meant to become one of the main entry and exit points for the Mediterranean corridor. The strategic position was further strengthened by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent visit to Marseille on the 12th February. Marseille is already positioned as the world's 7th largest digital hub. The city is connected to some 15 international submarine cables of strategic importance. The port of Marseille has enormous potential for development with its many strategic national projects, particularly through its future Marseille Force Euro-Mediterranean hydrogen hub. Its geographical location at the crossroads of the 3 continents also makes Marseille a port open to the world through its excellent connections with the rest of Europe and its many international partnerships, particularly with Indian ports. These undeniable advantages make Marseille the new platform for strategic dialogue on connectivity in the Mediterranean Sea. In this regard, France supports the organization by the ORF of a first annual regional Resina Mediterranean Dialogue conference in Marseille in 2025. The port of Marseille is a 100% state-owned, whereas in the Mediterranean Sea, some ports are operated or owned by other players, such as China. What about the French companies? The completion of the corridor should open up business opportunities, particularly in the rail and maritime transport, energy, and digital sectors, but also in engineering studies, construction, auditing, maintenance, and so on. The French companies are ready, and most of them are already international leaders in many of these sectors, like, for example, CMA CGM, Total Energy, Engie, EDF, Hydrogène de France, Alstom, Orange Marine, Alcatel Submarine Networks, Nexans, Vinci, Bouygues, or Eiffage, and many others. What about the EU? The European Union also considers the project a priority as part of the Global Gateway Connectivity Strategy launched in 2021. France supports the European Union's vision to make the IMEC a flagship project of the Global Gateway in the coming years. The IMEC is at the heart of the France-India strategic partnership. The priority cooperation project places France and India at both ends of the corridor, making the Franco-Indian duo one of the driving forces for the development of IMEC. During Modi's visit to Marseille in February, the Indian Prime Minister and President Macron agreed to strengthen bilateral cooperation to implement the project. The corridor has been on the agenda of this partnership since President Emmanuel Macron's official visit to India in January 2024 on the occasion of the 75th anniversary Republic Day. The very promising growth in our trade, as well as our already dense bilateral cooperation in many areas, such as defense, artificial intelligence, and energy, can only reinforce this dynamic. Since my appointment as the French President Special Envoy for IMEC, I have visited India on 3 occasions to foster dialogue with the project's main partners. The exchanges with the Indian authorities and the visit to the port of Mundra and its economic zone proved to be very rich and fruitful. Accelerating decarbonization is at the heart of IMEC's ambition. The IMEC will also consist of an energy corridor transporting mainly green hydrogen. The corridor will be the major global corridor for green hydrogen. It will connect the future major production zones, mainly India and the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Oman, Egypt, with the most important consumption zone, essentially the European Union. India has enormous potential for the production of very competitive renewable energy and green hydrogen, making it once again one of the pivots of the initiative. More generally, one of the IMEC's objectives is to secure value chains, particularly by diversifying our partners and creating new routes. This energy corridor will also help strengthening our resilience and energy security. Now, what are the next steps? First, set up a governance structure bringing together all the IMEC signatories to determine the timetable and collectively steer the pre-project phase. Secondly, to carry out pre-project and feasibility studies aimed in particular at estimating the infrastructure and investment requirements, the impact and the profitability of the corridor. In conclusion, I would like to say that in any case, Franco-Indian cooperation will be a fundamental driving force in the development of the IMEC. Thank you.